Hi, I'm Jeff Moran. I want to welcome you to True Texas History, where today we are going to take a look at the events that happened this day. And on this day, July 19th, 1843, that's during the days of the Republic of Texas, uh, President Houston went ahead and dismissed Commodore Moore from his office as commander of the Texas Navy. Now let's take a deeper look as to what happened and what was going on, because there's always more to the eye with history. And this little episode, although it's often overlooked by a lot of people, has some bearing on current events. There's an old saying that history does not repeat itself, but it certainly rhymes. And some of these themes continue to rhyme. But let me go ahead and set the stage. In 1843, you've got a situation where President Lamar, who was a second elected president of the Republic of Texas, he had a very different policy than President Houston. He wanted Texas to project an image of strength to the world, that we can stand on our own and we don't have to kowtow to anyone. This is very different than President Sam Houston, because President Houston wanted to present to the world a Texas that was weak and in need of protection. And these two images were very different. This is why Houston wanted the capital there in Houston, near the U.S. border at the Sabine River, whereas Lamar wanted the Texas capital in Austin, to where it was more centrally located, and there in Texas, not so near the United States. Okay, well, Lamar had been out of office. Houston went into office. And many of the policies of Lamar were still taking place. And one of them, was assisting the Yucatanos in their drive for independence from Mexico. Now, the Yucatanos had gone ahead and joined the Mexican Federation. Now, keep in mind, Mexico also consists of many states that had joined together. And the Yucatanos wanted to pull out. And the leader of Mexico, then Santa Anna again, did not want to let them leave. And so, as part of the struggle, there was a naval engagement and the Battle of Campeche. Now, the Battle of Campeche, in and of itself, is a fascinating study, and it was world-shaking, because here you had the Republic of Texas Navy with its wooden vessels defeating some steamships, essentially manned by Britain, which was the strongest naval power in the world at the time, and they defeated them. And this was a big event, the only time that ever happened. And so the Texas Navy had defeated them. They were flying high, very happy. But Houston was going into a rage. In some of the things that he wrote down, let me go ahead and read them to you, because, as a president going into a rage like this, you got to wonder about what was going on. By all means, have the Commodore yoked and manacled if possible. And another entry, you speak of the miserable Commodore Moore. That poor soul will fall by his own poison, or rather be strangled with his own venom. He's like a bloated maggot that can only live on his own corruption. In his anger toward Moore, he went ahead and said things like, he's the damnedest scoundrel on the face of the earth and the damnedest villain unhung. And he President Houston literally went ahead and sent notice to all the nations of the world that if they found him, they can hang him because he was a pirate and needed to be treated like that. And on this day, Houston went ahead and unilaterally kicked him out of office. Now, this is a dangerous precedent when a president removes a sitting military commander without a trial. He just did it on a whim. And this presented some problems because the people saw through it. The people of Texas were not dumb. They were horrified at what was going on and the attitude, because the attitude, this one was published in one of the newspapers. So long as General Houston holds the reins of government, even if insane, his legal orders should be respected. And many of the newspapers and the press realized that what Houston was doing was unprecedented. He was crazy. And this raises the question, should you follow the orders of a crazy president? If your president is losing his mind, should you follow it? And should the military go ahead and follow orders without question? Now, in another video, I went ahead and talked about the Texas Navy, and when Commodore Moore went ahead and came into port, which he did, Houston demanded that he return to Galveston and go ahead and surrender the Navy, and he promptly did. He went ahead and went to Galveston, was given a hero's welcome. I mean, the people applauded him. Commodore Moore went ahead and offered himself up to the local sheriff. The local sheriff was savvy enough to realize, Sheriff Smith, or Smythe, actually. His comment was, "Much as I admire a disposition of submission to the legal tribunals of your country so manifested, I am not aware nor do I conceive that it is incumbent on me in my official capacity to take cognizance of this matter." And the sheriff refused to arrest him. I mean, the sheriff had the sense to know this is a matter between the president and Commodore Moore. And the president went ahead and unilaterally dismissed him, which he shouldn't have done, but he did it anyway. And it raised the rankles of a lot of people. When the whole matter did go to trial, it was dismissed. And of course, Sam Houston raged about how it shouldn't have been dismissed and the legal system's corrupt. And you hear the same type of thing from politicians nowadays. You give them a fair trial and they complain, and the bellyaching never seems to cease. Now, behind the scenes, President Houston had been trying to butter up the United States to get to further the prospect of annexation, because he did not want to project an image of strength to the world. In fact, the timing was that by the end of June of 1843, it was the Republic of Texas that commanded the Gulf of Mexico. We were the preeminent navy in that body of water. We called the shots for anything going on out there, and Sam Houston did not like that. He felt that that was extending our power too far. At the same time, he was buttering up the United States. He was reassuring Britain that we were just kind of minding our own business, and this is a temporary glitch. And he was trying to have a peace treaty for Britain to broker between us and Mexico. So he was playing some political football behind the scenes, and on the surface he was raging, and people saw that he was being insane. Now, keep in mind that this is a man who had been drinking like a fish for a long time, and you may be dealing with, some mental deterioration, craziness on his part. And there is some documentation that would indicate some manic depression on his part. So, raises the question, should you follow a president that is in cognitive decline? Edwin Moore went ahead and followed the president's demands, went to trial, and was dismissed. But this whole episode had people starting to raise questions about Sam Houston's abilities. Now, they still, as weird as it sounds, Texans were still loyal to him. They still referred to him as the general, even though he was the president, which is kind of strange, but they have that loyalty since he won their independence. People always liked Sam for whatever reason. Anyways, I wanted to go ahead and cover that episode with you today. Hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to leave your comments down below. We'll talk to you next time. Until next time, this is Jeff Murrah wishing you vaya con Dios, my friends. Goodbye.